Now, the first ever hip hop museum is based in the Bronx, New York, and it will be constructed fully and open by 2023.
Is Nas behind it?
I think Nas might be behind it. I saw him post a picture of it on Instagram, and I was just on the podcast account, and I added the museum, and we kind of got talking, and they let me know that it was going to open in 2023. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. It looks really great. It looks huge. It looks like you could fit a lot of stuff in there. So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about was the kind of things that we kind of want to, what do we expect from the hip hop museum? What do we want in there? What do we don't want in there? Our expectations, basically, that sort of thing. I guess like a hip hop museum is a very interesting one because obviously hip hop has been around for over 40 years. We've had a lot of moments. We've had a lot of like shifts and transformations. So it'll be interesting to see how the hip hop museum kind of recognizes that and incorporates that into what they put in. Is it going to be like any other museum where you have like floors of different eras and different things, or is it going to be like an amalgamation of a lot of things in one place? Like, who knows? But for me personally, it is interesting because a lot of hip hop, especially in the early days, there are a lot of like artifacts to take from it, like the way people used to dress, the way people used to talk, the locations where they were at. Like obviously, hip hop started as like the three elements: the DJing, the graffiti, and the breakdancing. So I imagine there's going to be some recognition of that, of each element. In what form, I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see. I guess personally, what I would want to see is just like how they communicate how much hip hop has changed throughout each era, throughout each decade, and how they represent that through actual material. So whether that's like, I don't know, obviously back in the day when Melly Mel and them, Peter's friends, were wearing like disco stuff, because obviously hip hop came not necessarily from disco, but it was kind of like an offshoot. And the people who...
Not really.
Well, I mean, it's an offshoot in the sense of the way people were dressing at the time. Because when you go to disco...
I don't know if it was, because them disco, man, they were like, it was a shiny, like,
the glittery stuff.
The bottoms, the glitter, and the tops, and the blouses. Like, I don't know if that was ever really hip-hop.
That was hip-hop.
What, Melly Mel and like...
Melly Mel and them were...
breakdancers and that.
They were wearing that stuff. Trust me. When it comes to like live gigs, and even like on the Message video, Melly Mel is wearing stuff that you would see in Studio 54 in the 70s, like disco stuff. So that's kind of what I mean. It's not necessarily an offshoot, but they were taking from that style and kind of incorporating it in their own, because obviously hip hop at the time, there was no real style other than like what would later become like the B-boy stuff, like wearing straight head to toe, like Reebok or Adidas or Puma. Run DMC and that. So that's where a differentiation between disco and not K-Swiss.
It was K-Swiss.
Was there K-Swiss back then?
There was K-Swiss, but you man,
I don't know. I don't know.
It wasn't all Kango, fam.
No, but a lot of it was Adidas. I know K-Swiss was...
I don't know
K-Swiss was there and Kango.
K-Swiss?
Kango and K-Swiss, unless I'm bugging. But I know K-Swiss, I know Kango was big.
You sound like you're bugging.
Kango was big.
Okay. Kango was definitely big. I don't know about K-Swiss.
Cool J had the hat on, fam.
Okay.
But maybe I got K-Swiss at air, fam. Sorry.
Maybe you did, but it doesn't matter.
Maybe I think I was thinking Kango. I'm not gonna lie.
Kango, yes, definitely Kango.
Kango was big.
Yeah, Kango hats. Those were like the first. That's sort of the thing that I would love to see represented in the museum, like, because obviously Kango was a very big part of hip hop back then, and then Kango and Adidas. I don't know if Adidas came after Kango, but maybe they were like, maybe they existed. They coexisted.
I don't know if they did. I think Kango came before Adidas. I feel like Adidas came in more so when Run DMC came into the game and started doing what they were doing.
I feel like we bought Kango. Kango kind of.
I think LL Cool J.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm not saying. I just mean like Kango. We invested in Kango. Like LL Cool J was rocking Kango.
I think he might have been.
He was the first kind of big.
Yeah, I think he was the first big artist that did that.
Well, LL came out in like 84, 85, and that's when he was rocking Kango. And then Run DMC were around the same time, and they were rocking Adidas. Yeah, you can believe. Okay, for extra context, let's say like obviously LL Cool J and Kool Moe Dee were beefing at the time, so like maybe like mid to late 80s, and Kool Moe Dee was kind of more of like the very first generation of rap. They were kind of wearing more of the disco stuff. And then LL Cool J moved on to more of the Kango stuff. So there is that distinction. and then Kangol and Adidas, represented by Run DMC, were kind of more around the same time. So those sort of things, the style, what people were wearing at the time, will probably play a factor. It'd be also interesting to see how they acknowledge the generations of like particular styles in rap. So like obviously you had the Run DMC style, and then when you move on, you had the Rakim style, and then you move on, you might have like the Fushnikin style, like the all that shit. Stop it, Mo.
I didn't even open my mouth.
I know, but you were laughing. But anyway, and like the kind of like shouty stuff like Onyx was doing as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they incorporate that.
Yeah, I think that'd be really important, man. Just to see the development of where it originated from to where it's ended up. I don't know how they would like show the developments.
Yeah,
like, that'd be quite interesting to see. Like, I'd like to see it start from, the Melly Mel's, the Cold Crush Brothers, to
your Cold Crush Brothers,
whatever, to like the Rakims, the Slick Ricks. Like, how would they show that? Would they? I know imagery would be good as far as like
they're gonna have
different portraits and things like that.
I think portraits going to be very important.
Yeah, of course. But how would you show, apart from that, maybe printing lyrics?
They might have a timeline of being able. Obviously, they might just have like headphones, and you put the headphone in. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't have it on speaker because then everybody playing one thing.
Yeah.
It will just sound like chaos.
Or maybe
they might
just
have like a headphone section where you can put the headphones on here. Say for example, Cool Moldy. Do you get what I mean? I'd be like, oh shit, that's how it sounded back then. Literally have that generation. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Or maybe they'll have like, and to think a little bit bigger, maybe they'll commission like people, artists and like videographers and like documentary makers to like make documentaries about the time, or maybe take whatever existing audio or video that exists from those early days and maybe projecting it somewhere. I feel like that could be really good because museums do that. Like the Tate does it. They show like short films and stuff and all that. So that could be interesting. I do agree with you. It would be interesting to see how they represent a single era, whether that's through like a photo or a video or even like maybe a slab of metal or something that had graffiti on it and stuff like that. So it would be interesting to see. I think there should be like a section on jewelry because obviously jewelry has played a big role in hip hop as well. So there should be like an evolution of jewelry section.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that'd be dope.
That'd be sick.
And I'm really into gold, so I think that'd be like, for people like me that are really into that as well, I think that'd be cool. That will grab attention. Just seeing even, I think fashion, jewellery, just seeing how that developed
from the throwback jerseys to...
Yeah, not even before that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, from
like, the tight-fitted clothing to the more baggier stuff.
The triple XL white tees.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I think that'd be dope to kind of show as well. And then just even as far as like rapping and the different types of rapping and how it's developed over time from, when it was more simplistic with like, the Curtis Blows and that to...
Yeah, sorry.
to like when it became a little bit more technical with like the Big Daddy Kanes with the punchlines and the multi-syllable rapping as well and the bars. I think showing that would be good as well. I think that'd be important to see, even for those that aren't really into rap. It would be nice for them to see how it's kind of developed over time, how it's changed, how it's evolved, and how and those that helped kind of innovate those styles and bring those styles into fruition as well it'd be good for them to be kind of documented as well.
Do we think that there'll be like a Madame Tussauds kind of thing where they have like wax models of like the most important?
I don't think we need it.
No,
I don't think we need it.
I don't think we need
that. I wouldn't want to see a wax model of like Puck. I want to see how they do the different coasts.
That's something else to consider as well.
Let's say how they're gonna do when ATL first joined the scene, and how you bring them into it with the West Coast and the East Coast, and kind of even down south. Just how you kind of put that all together when they first joined the scene. Do you know what I mean? I would love to see how they put that all together. Yeah, do they give them their own wing or like so many ways you can play it?
At V&A, I think if you go...
What's V&A for people that don't know?
Victoria and Albert Museum, I believe. I think in different parts of the museum, you've got different history lessons, so to speak. So, and I might be completely wrong, I'm speaking from memory, but I think in one part of it, you've got maybe Asian history, and then on another part, you've got maybe African history, and this may not even be in a V&A, I can't even remember, but let's just say there was a museum that had that. I think incorporating something like that would be good for this hip hop museum.
As in someone that just guides people through.
Yeah, and like say like on different floors you have different parts of hip hop.
No, yeah, I feel you. That's literally what I'm saying.
Really help show the evolution. So on different floors you might on the first floor you might have, you know, where it originated, which was the Bronx, and then
another wing you can have.
Maybe more like East Coast on the first floor, and then the second floor you might have more West, and then third maybe you have the South. And
yeah, that'll be epic.
I definitely feel like
I'd love to see how they do it.
I definitely feel like you need like separate floors for each decade. So like 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now, whether that's every region or separate regions, because I think that will be important as far as a distinction goes for each decade, and people know what they're looking into and going into when they go into a floor, so they know what to expect. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. But I feel like, me personally, I would love to do, as a historian, like I would love to just go to like separate floors to just see like what represented each decade, how, why, and then working up personally. But
I mean, how big do we want this museum to be?
It looks massive.
I mean, it looks massive.
It
looks massive. So
it looks dumb big.
It looks as big as the MoMA. But
I never went.
You never went, no?
I never went. I'm sorry.
I went by myself.
Yemi definitely went by himself.
It was great though. It was very good. But I reckon it's going to be quite big. But again, it just depends on what's going to be there, and I just wonder who decides. Because
who's like going to own it? Who's helping?
I might be bugging, but it looks like Nas was behind at least somewhere.
But I imagine he's not the only person.
No, of course not. But I'm just glad he's there. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, but who's going to own it though?
I imagine it'll be owned by like the city of New York.
What?
Maybe.
Okay.
Because I mean, look, I don't know much about museums, but I imagine like you don't necessarily.
Not one set person owns it.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't think so.
As long as they got someone from the culture behind it, like a Nas, for example, and someone else that kind of can give them directions of what we need, I'm good with it.
It would be good if somebody from the culture can own it as well.
That would have been dope. Like a Jay-Z owning it would have been sick.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm just glad they're doing it because it's about time we had a museum.
Speaking of ownership, would you guys want the execs that have helped kind of behind the scenes with pushing certain artists to be documented in these museums as well?
Well,
like a Russell Simmons.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I feel like you can't have the Hip Hop Museum without consulting the people who are very important in its development. You know what I mean? So, Russell Simmons, Nas, Q-Tip, those weighing.
No, but I'm speaking more the executives,
like Leo Cohen.
Yeah,
no,
and the Russell Simmons, and I don't know if Rick Rubin was an exec at one point.
Was he?
I think he may have been. I don't know. Who else? Who else is there?
Why'd you say no, Mo?
Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah, maybe a Jimmy Iovine.
Me personally, I wouldn't want that.
Why?
Well, like a Leo Cohen, Jimmy Iovine,
whoever.
Russell Simmons, yeah.
So why not?
Just because I don't want to go back to it, but the last episode I said how I feel about them.
Yeah, but if like
I said last episode I felt like Leo Cohen was a culture vulture. So why would I want his input?
Right.
Do you get what I mean? Just personally, if I feel like he's a culture vulture, why would I want him in a museum? Do you get what I'm saying? I might be wrong.
But culture vulture or not though, like
it sounds like you're negating his
I'm
impact.
not negating his impact. We know what his impact was. I just don't want him there.
But we can't act.
I wouldn't want him side by side with Russell Simmons, for example.
But we can't act as though he didn't like help.
No, he helped, but I don't need you side by side with Russell Simmons.
For someone like a DMX, he was important.
I feel you, but if I feel like you're a culture vulture, I know what you've done for us. Don't get me wrong. You just don't need to be in this museum with the GOATs. Do you get what I mean?
But it's not about the GOATs. It's about
the GOATs.
It's about documenting history, innit?
I feel what you're saying. I might sound like a madman here. I just feel like, because I feel how I feel about Leo Cohen, for example, I just wouldn't feel 100% comfortable with him in a museum.
Just so you know, though.
Do you know? I get what you mean where you're coming from as well. Don't get me wrong.
Just so you know, though, I'm looking at the board of directors right now.
I bet you he's there.
He's not here, but there are a lot of non-black people here.
I told you that.
There's 5 board members, board of directors, one of which is Ice-T, and the other is a black man called Bill Stefani. The rest are
Yaqub Seeds.
What look like one of them is Indian or black, that way inclined. The other one is white. It's Tom Silverman, sounds like a Jew, and sounds Jewish. And Rocky Bucano, who looks Asian.
These might sound like they work for Goldman Sachs.
And then the board of trustees, the founding members, one is Curtis Blow, one is Grand Wizard Theodore, and the rest...
Grand Wizard,
yes.
white or black?
He's probably black.
I'm about to say
Grand Wizard.
Peter, do you know?
It's a Grand Wizard.
Grand Wizard,
If he's white, it sounds
wild.
wild.
That sounds like a title for someone that's like
in a clan.
A Freemason.
No, it sounds like a clan member, bro.
I'm pretty sure he's black, though.
Grand Wizard's a clan member, I swear.
I'm pretty sure... Yeah, Grand Wizard is KKK. But I'm pretty sure he's black.
Peter,
Yeah, he's black. He's black. He's a DJ, and he's widely credited as the inventor of the scratching technique.
Oh, fair enough. Then, yeah.
So, I mean, he knows a thing or two about hip-hop,
you
innit?
can't. Peter, can I get your opinion on that?
On what?
Getting Leo Cohen on the music. Or Yemi. Whichever one.
I think it's important to document the execs that helped push the culture forward. No matter how you look at them, whether they were in it for like financial gain or not, they were still important to the scene. Like someone like a DMX, like they were important. Leo Cohen directly was really important for pushing someone like a DMX out or even signing DMX.
No, you're right.
Without someone like Leo Cohen, we may not have gotten a DMX, which, you know, we may not have had the sort of that era in rap that it was. So I feel what you're saying, because there are definitely a lot of these acts are culture vultures, but that comes with capitalism though, man. You can't, like Yemi said in the last episode, man, a lot of these capitalists are essentially culture vultures because they're up for, like, you know, jumping into anything that will make them money.
Right, you remembered.
Yeah, I did. So
I feel you.
I don't know, man. It's a tough
tricky one. It's a
tough one. I think it depends on how far the influence goes, man.
Yeah, because at the same time, like, if you're gonna treat it like any other museum, like, not every museum has like a board of directors that contain every person who's contributed significantly, or not even that significantly, to art. Like, it's not like you're going to every art museum and you're seeing Damien Hirst as the board of directors, or like Picasso, even though he's been dead for like 40 years. It doesn't always have to be like someone who has contributed.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, piggybacking on the back of that, it's true, because if you were to go to like a MoMA and you were to see someone like a Picasso's work, you may not see a portrait of the art dealer that sold Picasso's work or helped broker his work being sold. So maybe essentially, maybe we don't need them in this hip hop museum.
I just don't want his face there.
I hate you, man. You just don't like.
I'm sorry, I can't. I want to word it politely. I just don't want his face.
You just
there.
don't like the man.
I can't stand Leo Cohen, man.
I hear you, man. Do we reckon there'll be like a section for like all the beefs that have happened in hip hop?
There needs to be.
Does there?
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I don't know if there needs to be, because
but I personally, you man know me, fam. I'd love there for there to be. I mean,
it is an important part of the culture, innit? Like battle rap is an important part of it. So yeah, all right, yeah, maybe it does need to be. Maybe the earlier beefs, like when Kool Moe Dee was battling Curtis Blow, LL, whoever.
See, it's tricky, man, because
I want it to be.
You don't want to celebrate negativity.
It's part of hip hop.
I know.
Sometimes it's just part of hip hop.
But people have lost their lives over beef.
I feel you, but sometimes that's hip hop. Not even trying to sound fuckery. Not trying to say death is part of hip hop. But whether we like it or not, beef is essential to hip hop. I'm sorry.
I think what Mo is getting at is the competitive nature of what rap is should be documented, not more so the fuck shit that happens.
Yeah, just
when two men can't communicate.
No, don't get it twisted. I'd love to have.
I'm talking about that shit like I know I'm a better rapper than you. That's part of hip hop. Yeah. Like I know nobody here can out-rap me.
Yeah, there've been enough beefs. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
And I'd love to see it, but I'm not sure if they would do it.
I would love to see a whole section on that.
I don't know if they do it.
Whether it's big, whether it's even if it's Cannabis versus LL. I would just love to see that shit. I'm sorry, fam.
But it depends on what's being shown, though.
I feel you.
Because again, it is just about knowing. We're obviously not going to know until it opens, but it's just about how the history of hip hop is represented in a museum. Because obviously we don't have like, we have like album artworks and stuff, but we don't have like proper artwork like a museum does. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see inevitably what this looks like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, that would be a good one if they put beefs there. I never actually thought about that.
Yeah, beefs. I'm pretty sure I had something else written down.
I actually wouldn't be mad at that. You know what? I'm not going to lie.
Maybe influential albums.
You've got to do that.
But that's a tough one though, man.
Do you mean like
where do you stop and how do you pick the more influential albums compared to the ones that weren't so influential?
I think there's a set of albums that we can all agree were influential that they can put in there.
What do you mean, like the 5 Mic? What was it, the 5 Mic albums?
No, we're not basing it on 5 Mic.
No, I'm not basing it on 5 Mic. I'm just saying it's that kind of thinking. That if we know, There's certain albums we know that are.
If we can think of 10 albums that
that
shifted the culture,
then you should put it up there.
that they'll put up there.
I just think it leaves a lot of room for debate.
Of course it does. But
I feel like
no one's gonna debate Illmatic. No one's gonna debate Reasonable Doubt.
I feel like they're definitely gonna do that.
No one's gonna debate The Chronic.
Yeah,
They're definitely gonna have a section.
Yeah,
for that.
but
I'm pretty sure they'll have a section.
as much as I love Reasonable Doubt, I don't know if it shifted the culture.
Oh, I don't think so either.
There you go.
But nobody.
So,
but if you put that,
some people may have that in their 10, but then you could argue and say, I don't know.
Okay.
As much as we may love it, and as much as there are classic albums, I don't know if it shifted the culture. I don't know if it made anything change in rap. Whereas Illmatic did. It furthered on from what Rakim was doing, but it did.
so you feel like they won't put an album there just because of the covers? It's too debatable.
I think there's too many great classic albums for them to start putting a bunch
It'll
of
be
classic
never
albums
ending.
in there. Yeah, so
But for the sake of argument, we're just saying culture shifting albums. So we're talking about.
I think that's still quite difficult to measure
It's good kid, like a good kid.
because it's subjective. It's still quite subjective. What's like culture shifting to you may not be to me. So
Okay.
I don't know who's on this board, but from the names that you've named, are they even qualified to talk about the albums that shifted?
I feel you.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But
And that's where the issue would be.
true.
Because for us, a good kid might be, which is for me anyway. I'll put a good kid up there.
Culture shifting.
Yeah, I think. Good
I
Kid
don't know if
definitely
it was culture shifting though.
You don't think so?
It was a bloody amazing album, but I don't know if it was culture
The only
shifting.
reason I say it for us, I get what no, because I'm getting back to your point. For me, Good Kid was culture shifting. I was 18 when the album came.
Not
out.
all classic
The guys
albums-
on the board are most probably 60, 70. How can they gauge what's culture shifting?
I'm sure they'll have a lot of help.
2012?
I'm sure they'll have a lot of help from the hip hop community and people figures in it.
Fair enough.
But not all classic albums are culture shifting.
I definitely think Good Kid was.
The
Exactly.
majority, but I think the majority of them aren't.
But that's where there's going to be
yeah,
too much room for debate.
So what? Do you just leave it to classic albums up there?
I don't know.
But when I think of culture shifting, I'm thinking like Run DMC's like third album, Raising Hell. I'm thinking of De La Soul's first album. I'm thinking of Tribe Called Quest's second album. I'm thinking of Illmatic. I'm thinking of what else am I thinking of?
Rakim, Paid in Full.
Paid in Full. I'm thinking of Paid in Full. I'm thinking of
Biggie.
Slick Rick.
I was gonna say Slick Rick, but I wasn't sure.
You
And
put
bear
ready,
in mind, these are albums that I haven't
you put
heard
you
all
put
of
Ready
them.
to Die there?
Culture shifting? I don't know.
I don't know
wouldn't.
either, man.
I wouldn't necessarily.
I think
The
live after,
problem, this is the problem though, because to get back to your point, you see the conversation how it starts. You don't know
see?
what to put up there.
That's what I'm saying.
But then I think if you leave it to these albums are 10 out of 10.
I'm putting the Beastie Boys too.
Oh. If you put these albums are classics, because it's culture, it's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
museum, bro.
maybe
you
that
could do
then.
it as not going back to 5 Max, but like you could say these are the 10 out of 10 5 Max albums. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even
Like, for example,
but
if
even
a
the Source
kid-
got those
that's
wrong.
No, they definitely did, but there are some albums where even if they don't need to do all of them, but if they just say these albums to us are the 10 greatest hip hop albums of all time, I guarantee 7 of them we will agree with, 3 of them maybe we'll debate. Do you get what I mean?
100%.
So I think they can live with that.
Yeah. I mean, again, like Peter
As
said,
long as they
it
don't
is
do
all,
something flagrant.
it is all subjective, and there's no way more time we're going to agree on 10 culture shifting all time classics.
Yep.
Although we can agree on at least,
7, I think 6.
I was going to say 5.
I think you can agree with 6 or 7.
Yeah,
A
maybe.
classic. You can agree on about 7 classics. We just did like 4 now.
True. Yeah, you're probably right.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm definitely going to go to this museum.
in the Bronx.
Yeah, man.
In 2023.
I really want to.
The Bronx is a scary place, bro.
Listen, fam, I stayed in Flatbush.
If we had a UK equivalent of this hip hop,
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's way too soon.
Is
For
it?
UK music.
Yeah, it's a museum. Do you know what a museum is?
I
Fam?
don't think it is.
I don't think it's too
Stop
soon.
it, guys.
UK music. We're not talking about black UK.
Oh, we're not
Are we
talking hip-hop?
No.
Oh, say that then, bro. I thought we were talking about UK hip hop music.
Oh, if we're talking about UK hip hop music, then I think
It's way too soon.
Well,
What, hip hop and grime?
no,
It's too soon. If we're
No,
talking
because
music-
UK hip hop has been around since the 80s.
That's what hip hop and grime.
80s.
Yes, London Posse,
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I'm just
Rodney
saying.
P and them.
I'm just shouting
Well,
to
Rodney P
by
was
the way.
around in the 80s.
80s.
Yes,
I
he
thought
was
he-
part
I
of
thought-
London Posse.
I thought he was early 90s.
No, he was part of London Posse.
80s.
80s, yes,
Wow, shout out to Rodney P for your old. But
exactly. London Posse.
just
And
say he's
from the
old?
80s onwards.
Yo, you're a bastard,
I
bro.
whispered that. Shut up.
We'll
No,
edit
I
that
think
out,
there's
it's
definitely,
fine.
I think there's definitely scope for it. And even like garage, you can incorporate garage as well in that.
Oh, we're talking about music, period.
No, we're talking about hip hop. No, we're talking. Okay,
This is
we're
what I
talking
need to understand.
about rap oriented music.
In the UK.
In the
I
UK.
don't think it's too soon.
I
think we can still document what it's been thus far.
I feel you, but not a museum, man.
Why?
I feel like it's too soon.
No, I don't think it's too soon.
Okay, it's definitely not the size of the American one.
Yeah, of course.
it's-
We've got a floor or two.
Maybe not even that.
That's my point.
But at the same time,
Hear what you just said.
That's still something.
Hear what
though.
you man just said. I said a floor or two, and you said not even that.
no, I said a floor. Maybe a floor.
That's too soon.
Yeah, but that's because the history isn't as vast as
That's my
America.
point. Do you know what I
But
mean?
there's still enough history there.
But so
But we can do grime. We can do garage.
when I think museum, I think great. More than a floor.
Bro, you don't even go museums.
That's why I said when I think museums. Not when I go museums. I said when I think, fam.
I feel what Yemi's saying. Man.
Okay,
I feel
maybe
like-
obviously you might go museums and I don't. That's very evident on this podcast. But is it not more than one floor of museum, fam?
you know who's not getting in that museum?
Who?
Reg.
You're a damn lie.
I know,
A
I'm
damn
lying.
lie,
I'm
fam.
lying.
Shout out to Oxfam and Neutrino though. They'll be in the
100%. Soul Solid Crew.
Okay, yeah.
Black Twine.
Yeah, no, I might be bugging.
The streets.
Yeah, you're
21
definitely
Savage.
bugging.
Fine, if you want. His birth certificate.
Fam.
Yeah,
Money love.
there's definitely enough room for UK rappers and grime artists in the museum. I feel there's like, even though it hasn't been around as long as the US hip hop scene, there's still history to be told. I think those like people like abroad in like Croatia or Sweden now are into like UK rapping and grime. I think it'll be dope, like tourist attraction as well, for them to come and be educated. And then for people that live here, I think it'll be cool because a lot of people don't know where it started from. So I think it'll be good for them to visit the museum and see where it started from, and just help acknowledge a lot of people that started the scenes here as well.
100%.
Like, you know, the D doubles and that, man, they don't really get they don't really get the respects and the the salutes like they should.
No, I think Double definitely does.
You reckon?
Well, in the scene.
People that know innit? But
Yeah.
like, I don't know, and I this ain't even something to brag about, but I don't know how many of like my peoples know about D double. So yeah, man, I feel like the people like the D doubles and the Black Twangs and the Tires and whoever, like, it would be good to document them and how they came up and how they shifted the culture and put their stamp on it as well.
So you feel like it'd be good to pay the...
Oh, for sure,
so
man.
I never thought about it that way, by the way, because I feel like D double, there's a lot of people that don't get their flowers while they can still smell them.
There you go.
Criminal.
Criminal, definitely not.
Criminal defo ain't going to be in that museum.
Criminal, definitely.
A man can dream.
Listen,
Ronnie.
if Criminal's going in that, then Bruiser's going in that.
Man said Bruiser, dominating blows to your nose. Fam.
Bruce is definitely getting in there.
Bruiser going where, fam? Only thing I know about Bruiser, he was on Lord of the Mics for 2 seconds.
His ad-libs were like classic though.
I said Bruiser. This guy had a
I
white...
said, get me!
Get me, fam, with his Cockney
classic
accent,
track.
fam. Yo, be quiet, fam.
It's a classic track. What do you mean?
Yo, this guy said,
Yo,
be
fam.
quiet.
Yo, fam. Keep
It's a
Bruiser.
classic track.
Yo, keep Bruiser away from me and my family.
Channel U is definitely going in that museum.
Oh, for sure.
Channel AKA.
Channel AK.
Channel U.
No. Channel
Channel
U.
U.
I said Channel AKA 8. It's not going there. Channel U is, not Channel AKA.
Oh, no, Channel AK.
Channel U. for
Daffy's
sure.
getting in there.
Bashy.
Daffy.
Dappy.
Daffy's getting in there.
Why?
Daffy talented, bro. Banner says
He's not
Daffy.
going. He's not
No, I think
going
he's going in as
Stop
N-Dubs.
it. No, besides N-Dubs as well. Let's
No.
not act like Daffy's talented, bro. Let's not act like Daffy's not talented.
I don't think he's getting in by himself.
Alright,
N-Dubs.
but we're
What? N-Dubs, 100%.
I don't want Talisa in there.
She's been there, bro.
Oh, shit.
You
She's in
think
there.
N-Dubs are big enough to go in that museum?
100%.
I'll
You
stop
think
it.
they like shifted culture?
They shifted culture in the sense that they
Yo,
were
yo,
able to... They were
N-Dubs
able
are
to
there.
hey,
Just
fam.
for what they sold alone, N-Dubs are there.
Hey, fam. They
Yo,
had
some,
a-
Yeah, but
yeah,
this
me,
ain't-
Pete,
this ain't-
it's not just for
Yeah,
you.
but this is a museum. This
Yeah,
is
it's not just for you, though.
Bro, it's not about me. We're not talking about what's been sold. We're talking about the art. You're in the museum to view art, the quality of art. It ain't about sales. N-Dubs ain't going to no damn UK museum.
Oh, yo, why
man.
you so angry for?
No, I'm
fam?
just saying, bro.
He
You
definitely
man
do to you,
don't-
fam.
No, he ain't done nothing to me, but I'm just saying, N-Dubs ain't going in that museum.
I feel like Daffy is, but
They might not be going in your museum, but I think it's definitely like an evolution of where, well, I'm not going to call them grime, but they came from that scene and they were able to make it as pop stars.
Who hasn't?
A
Bruiser.
lot of people. What do you mean?
Bruiser.
Tiny did it.
Tiny's going in the museum.
There's
he?
only a handful of people who have.
Tiny Temper's
Is
not going in
Tiny
the
Temper
museum.
going in the museum?
Yes.
Why?
Bro, Tiny Temper's going in the museum.
Why?
Tiny
You're
Temper's
bugging.
definitely going
You're
in the museum.
No,
bugging.
you
You're
keep
bugging.
telling me I'm bugging. Tell me why. I'm asking you a question.
Tiny
Hold
Temper's
on.
got classic tracks. He shifted the culture by transitioning into pop and being a success. He has to go in the museum. He's from the scene.
Tiny Temper, I'm pretty sure, and sometimes it is this plain simple. Like he said, came from the culture.
Like, it's not every day just lyricists
Left,
and
had
people who
a-
are there
no,
for the art.
it's-
Don't paint me with that brush because I'm not saying everyday lyricist. I'm speaking objectively. I'm asking you a valid question.
Why do you feel
I
like
don't
he
know
shouldn't
if
be?
Tiny Temper's going in that museum.
What's your museum?
Because the
for
museum's about isn't the museum about art? We're not talking about sales. We're talking about doing groundbreaking things. If you man feel like Tiny Temper doing what he did was groundbreaking, then fine. I'm asking valid questions though.
Yeah, the number one song in America.
I don't care about America.
But that's still groundbreaking.
I'm talking about the scene.
That's still groundbreaking. That's
what?
groundbreaking.
So what, breaking across in the States?
Yeah, that's groundbreaking. Having the number one song in America.
What did that do for the
A
scene
UK
here though?
rapper.
What did that do for the scene here?
So is it just UK you're basing it on? It's
That's-
a UK rapper.
Where's
though.
the museum?
No, but we're talking about UK rapper. We're not just like, do you know what I mean?
Bro, if you when we're talking about having a museum here and documenting what these UK artists have done for the UK scene and just what they've done and how they've shifted culture and been groundbreakers, I'm not thinking about what they've done to go across the pond. I'm talking about what they've done here. What attention have they brought to grime and UK rap? That's what I'm talking about.
You don't think Tiny's done that?
I don't know if he has.
I feel like
He definitely has.
I feel like he has a lot, bro.
Okay.
A lot.
If we're taking the museum as something documenting the history of UK rap-oriented music, Tiny has to be there. Chip has to be there.
Chip has to. Yes, I agree with that.
Tiny has
Tinchy
to.
has to be there.
If
Yeah, I
Tinchy's-
agree with that
So
too.
wait, Tinchy's there, but
But
not
why
Tiny.
do you agree with Chip and Tinchy but not Tiny?
Tinchy's wait, no, Tinchy's there, but not Tiny, bro.
I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it.
I'm asking you because you said Tinchy there,
Yeah, I can see that.
and Tiny's not.
Because Tinchy did it way before Tiny, and Tinchy didn't do it the way Tiny did it.
What do you mean?
I feel like with Tiny, he did it more so with just the club tunes. I feel like
No, he blew off the club tunes,
precisely. So you're breaking new
but he's still
ground.
rapping.
Arguably, Tinchy had
Yeah, but he
more
didn't do
poppy
it with-
tunes.
He's rapping.
Arguably, Tinchy had more
You
poppy
man
tunes.
talking at once, but you man are not letting me respond. Like, do one at a time, innit? With Tinchy, I feel like he did it differently to the way Tiny did it. Tiny did it more so with like the girl tunes and the club tunes. I don't know if Tinchy did that. When Tinchy blew, I think he did it. He did it with a couple of the grime tunes to begin with, and then he tried to go across and try and doing it with the more commercial type tunes.
I feel like Tinchy blew off the poppy songs. All I remember from Tinchy is a song with, what was the song with him and Dappy? The little poppy songs.
Number one.
Number one, the one with the starships. Tinchy done.
So what was Game Over?
He didn't blow off that.
You don't think that
No
brought like
way,
crazy
bruv.
attention?
But
No.
that came after number one.
And
That came way after.
Tinchy-
Number one came out in 2009. Game Over came out in like 2011.
So when do you mark Tinchy as officially like crossing over there?
Honestly, number one.
2009.
Number one is the reason why he blew.
I feel you though, because obviously like something like Mainstream Money, which is a great tune and dope tune and like kind of put him on the map. That's like 2007. It's kind of like that happy middle between like grime and pop to where it's like kind of like electro based, but not necessarily grimy. He kind of got some shine off that, but he fully gone clear with number one.
Number one blew him.
He got
bro.
a number one with that.
And then he had Starship straight after that.
So you man want any UK artist that has blown regardless of the quality of their sound or regardless of the type of song that it is that they're blowing with. Because if you're a grime artist but you're blowing with a song that isn't considered grime, do you still want that to be documented within the museum?
Why are we acknowledging the people who do grime but not the people who are making the same type of music from that scene that came up on that scene, have branched out? Why are we not?
I'm not saying we're not. I'm asking you a question.
I think we need to acknowledge all of that. We're not going to get a comprehensive, wide history of UK music if we're leaving certain people out.
I don't feel like we can fault people for branching out.
I
Which is
used
what
to.
we will do with the museum, right? If we just keep it to people that stick to what they started with and don't ever branch out to the pop section, then surely do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can't blame them. I can't blame Tiny Temper for branching out and making a pass out. I can't blame you for that. I can't blame Tinchy for making a number one.
Our favourite rappers
You
have branched
started
out.
where you started at, though.
Our favourite rappers have branched out. Kano branched out.
If the-
Wretch
if the-
branched
Wretch
out.
Rich definitely
Skepta
branched out.
Alright.
Rich had Tricked Her.
Okay,
Tricked
all
Her.
right. You know what? If we're doing that, yeah, then just going back to the US side, are you gonna tell me that like someone like Criss Cross
I knew you were going to say that.
are gonna be in the museum then? Because if
No.
we're going by that,
No,
they
it's not the same, people.
why is it not the same?
Because the US history is way
That's
more
what I was just about to
vast.
say. I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
It's
but
way more vast.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless how vast it is, it's not big enough to talk about every hip hop artist that had like great commercial success. So, but by you two's like rhetoric, then we have to incorporate the Criss Crosses.
First of all, there's only a handful of UK rappers who have achieved commercial success.
I don't know if it depends on what level we're talking about, but there are a lot that have like achieved commercial success.
We're talking about like wide, like big. We're talking about Tinchy level. We're talking about Chip level. There's only a few. There's only a handful of them.
Name some more.
Dizzy, Tiny, Tinchy, Chip.
You think that's it?
Kano didn't really.
Kano didn't.
Kano didn't. Wretch.
You don't think what? You don't think Brown Eyes like
not that level, not Tinchy level. I don't think Tinchy.
It depends on your
what
definition.
P's and Q's? You don't think that was
not
like,
Tinchy,
massive?
bro. On the level, not Tinchy level. Tinchy was on. Tinchy at one point was gone. Like I don't want to keep going. But Tinchy at one point gone clear. Tinchy's song was a WrestleMania, but Tinchy was gone clear at one point. So like I don't think Kano was ever on that level. Wretch was never on that level. Wiley was never on that level.
I mean, he did wear my Rolex, and
you know what I mean. No knock against these guys, but they weren't ever.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But
I
hear what you man are saying.
No, hang on. Pete, in an ideal world, what's in your UK museum?
I mean, it's not far off from what you man would consider in yours. I'm just asking questions as to whether Tiny would be in it. That's all I'm asking.
He's in mine.
That's cool.
He's in mine.
I just don't know if he's in mine.
Which is
why not?
I think because of how small the museum is going to be, I would want to note the more like influential, groundbreaking artists to be in it. And I just don't know if I don't know if Tiny is in that for me. That's all. It's not massive. It's not like the museum isn't going to be as big as the one in the US. So there's not that much room to just fill it up with like, and no disrespect to Tiny because I'm a fan. I just don't think there's enough room for like the Tinies.
I think to be a black artist who has made grime or rap music, who has then gone on to have major commercial success, has to be celebrated in some type of way.
Okay. I'm not mad at that at all. And you definitely have a valid point.